Welcome all of you to another session of Turbo Machine. Today we'll solve one problem that is related to steam turbine. So this problem is a uh, single stage turbine. This problem is related to single stage turbine. So in this problem we are going to we are making use of a steam table. So all of you know this steam table. So there is one problem that is related to steam table, so that we are going to solve today, right? So I have written the problem statement. So I am going to read out the problem statement, and at same time I am going to extract the given data for this problem. Okay, so I am going to read the problem statement now. Dry saturated steam at 10 atmospheric pressure is supplied to a single rotor impulse wheel. The condenser pressure being 0.5 atmosphere with a nozzle efficiency of 0.94 and a nozzle angle at the rotor inlet is 18 degree to wheel plane. The rotor blades, which moves with a speed of 450 meters per second, are equiangular with the coefficient of velocity for rotor blades is 0.92. Find A specific power output, rotor efficiency, stage efficiency, axial thrust and direction of the exit steam. So direction of the exit steam is alpha 2 and exit steam, so magnitude of the exit steam is nothing but V2. V2 is the direction of the or we can say V2 is the speed of the or the velocity of the steam which is going out of the turbine, and it is having direction, so that direction is alpha 2. Okay, here so we'll extract the given data here. So here dry saturated steam at 10 atmosphere, right? So dry saturated, the condition of the steam is mentioned here. So the condition of the steam is dry saturated, right? So it is neither wet steam, right, nor it is superheated steam. So the condition of the steam here in this problem is dry saturated steam. So this is dry saturated steam at a 10 atmosphere. So dry saturated steam at a 10 atmosphere is supplied to a single rotor impulse wheel, right? So dry saturated at 10 atmospheric pressure. So the condition of the steam is dry saturated and pressure is 10 atmosphere. So it is about to enter into the single rotor or single stage impulse turbine, right? So after doing work on the turbine, so the steam comes out of the turbine and it enters into the condenser, right? So here the condenser pressure being 0.5 atmosphere. So the condenser pressure, so initially what happened, 10 atmospheric pressure, dry saturated steam of 10 atmospheric pressure enters into the turbine, right? After doing the work, the steam comes into the condenser. So in condenser what happens, the temperature and the pressure of the steam reduces, right? So here the value of the condenser pressure is given, the condenser pressure being 0.5 atmosphere with nozzle efficiency, right? Nozzle efficiency is also given, nozzle efficiency is 0.94 and nozzle angle at rotor inlet is 18 degree. So nozzle angle at rotor inlet is 18 degree. So that is alpha 1. This is alpha 1. So here 10 atmospheric pressure is P1. As you can see, this is P1, 10 atmospheric pressure. This is the condition of the steam which is entering into the turbine. Then condenser pressure being 0.5 atmosphere, so that I am representing it by PO, P naught it is, P suffix naught, and the condenser pressure is 0.5 atmosphere. So this is nothing but 0.5 bar, it is all normally equal to. So as you can see, P1 is equal to 10 atmospheres. So this is very nearly equal to 10 bar. Similarly, P naught is equal to 0.5 atmosphere. So this is equal to 0.5 bar. So nozzle angle is given, that is 0.94, as you can see here. So this is the nozzle efficiency. This is nozzle efficiency, 0.94 is given. After that, nozzle angle is also given. Nozzle angle at the rotor inlet is 18 degree. So nozzle angle is 18 degree, that is alpha 1, right? Then the rotor blades, which moves with a speed of 450 meters per second, right? So rotor blade speed, so rotor blade speed is nothing but the tangential speed, so that value is given 450 meters per second, and are equiangular, right? So the rotor blades which move with a speed of 450 meters per second, so 450 meters per second is the value of u, that is the tangential speed of the rotor. And at same time rotor blades are equiangular, so that's why beta 1 is equal to beta 2. Okay, next, if the coefficient of velocity for the rotor blade is 0.92, if the coefficient of velocity is nothing but cb, so cb is the coefficient of velocity, right? And its value is given, that is 0.92. So if we represent it in terms of vr2 by vr1, it is vr2 by vr1. Coefficient of velocity is given by cb is equal to 0.92, and it is given by vr2 by vr1. So this is the given data that is related to this problem. So in this problem, as you can see, the value of v1, or the velocity of the steam at which it enters into the turbine, so that velocity v1 is not given in the problem directly. So for that we have to make use of one more relation to calculate this v1, right? So I will tell you that part. So v1 is given by, so v1 is equal to, so it is the velocity of the steam, absolute velocity of the steam at inlet. So v1 is equal to square root of 2000 into nozzle efficiency into delta H dash. So this is the equation to calculate the value of v1, velocity, absolute velocity at inlet, v1. So but in this problem we don't know the value of delta H dash, right? Delta H dash we don't know the value. So I can write here delta H dash is equal to, so this I can write h1 minus h2, right? Or I will write h1 minus h2 dash, I will make it as h2 dash. So how I am going to calculate this value of h1 and h2? So here h1 is the enthalpy, right? H1 is the enthalpy, right? That value is to be obtained at this pressure, that is at 10 atmospheric pressure. So the condition of the steam is given, dry saturated steam at 10 atmosphere. So at 10 atmosphere pressure, 10 atmospheric pressure, so we need to calculate the value of h1. And at same time we need to calculate this value of h2 dash. H2 dash is the isentropic enthalpy drop. So that value is to be calculated, right? So these values h1 and h2 dash values are to be calculated from Molliers diagram, right? Molliers diagram, it is there at the end of the steam table, right? So now I will show you how to obtain the value of h1 and h2. So we are having the steam table here, right? So if you go to the last page of the steam table, there is one Mollier chart. Is there. So this is the Mollier chart. So here P1 at the condition of the steam. So the condition of the steam is dry saturated steam, right? So as you can see, this line what this line represent. So this line represent. So this is dry saturated steam line. This line what you are seeing here, this line, dark line. So this line we call it as dry saturated line. As you can see, so it is a saturation line. You can see here the saturation line. So this line indicates what you are seeing here. This line indicates dry saturated line, right? So here the condition of the steam is 10 atmospheric pressure. So as you can see, so on this dry saturated line, this is the dry saturated line. So on this dry saturated line, the pressure values are indicated here: 0.1, 0.2, right? 0.3, 0.45. So similarly, you can see here, you can see this 10 at 10 bar. Okay, now you can see it properly. So this line, this line you are seeing here, this line, this is a saturation line. So this is the saturation line. So this line indicates the condition of the steam is dry saturated. So this is the dry saturated line, what you are seeing here, right? So below this you are having the pressure values, right? So starting as if you see here, so it is 1 here, 1, then 1.5 atmospheric pressure, 2 atmospheric pressure, then 2.5, 3, 4. So at the inlet, so the atmospheric pressure is 10 bar. So this is the 10 bar line, right? So this is the point. So this is the 10 bar, as you can see, this is 10 bar, and this point, so this point, so from this point you have to move towards the left side. So there you will see the specific enthalpy. So there you can see the specific enthalpy in kilojoules per kg, right? So from point 10 bar, so from point 10 bar I will move towards the left, right? So this is the point, this is the point of 10 bar. So this is 10 bar, as you can see here. So this is 10 bar. So this point indicates the pressure condition of the steam, that is 10 atmospheric pressure, and at that point the enthalpy value is, at that point the enthalpy value is, if I am going to draw a line over there, I'm going to draw a line over there. So you have to draw a horizontal line with the help of pencil. Make use of this pencil and you will get the value of V, that is H1. So this is H1. So as you can see, this is H1, this is 10 bar pressure. At 10 bar, at 10 atmospheric pressure, from there I am going to draw a horizontal line which is going to cut here. So I am going to get the value of H1. So I am going to get the value of H1 is equal to 2780. So this value is 2780, right? 2780. As you can see here, it is 2700 and it is 2800. So this value what I have obtained from 10 bar pressure, right? 10 bar pressure. So I have obtained somewhere around 2780 kilojoules per kg, right? So this is the value of H1. This is the value of H1. Okay, so I'm going to write that value here now. So we have obtained the value of H1. H1 is equal to, how much we have obtained? H1 is equal to 2780 kilojoules per kg Kelvin, right? So let me draw the molar diagram here only so that you can understand it properly. So this is the molar diagram, right? This is, so here it is H, enthalpy on y-axis, and entropy on x-axis. On entropy it is x-axis, on x-axis it is entropy, on y-axis it is enthalpy, right? So this line, this curve represents dry saturated line. This curve represents dry saturated line on the molar diagram. And you can see there is a pressure curves are there. There are pressure curves. So these are the pressure curves. So this point, it is 10 atmospheric pressure or 10 bar, or I can write 10 bar. So this is this point P1, I will write it P1. So P1 is 10 atmospheric pressure. P1 is 10 atmospheric pressure, right? Then we are considering this as a isentropic pressure drop will takes place. Isentropic pressure drop will takes place. So here you can see there is one more line. So this point I will call it as P0. This line I will call it as P0. So the condenser pressure P0 is nothing but the condenser pressure, that is 0.5 atmospheric pressure. It is atmospheric pressure 0.5 or 0.5 bar it is, right? Or 0.5 bar it is. Okay, so this is the line. As you can see, this is the line of 0.5 bar. This is the condenser pressure line, and this is one more pressure line, that is P1, that is 10 atmospheric pressure. So this line indicates what you are seeing here, the curve. So this is dry saturated line. dry saturated line. So this line indicates dry saturated line. So on this there is one P1 is there at 10 atmospheric pressure and P2 is there at 0.5 atmospheric pressure. So from here, if you move towards the left side, so if you move towards the left side, you will get, so this point will be H1, this point will be H1. So if you move towards left side, so this value is H1, that is enthalpy at 10 atmospheric pressure. Now since it is a isentropic drop, means you have to draw a line vertically downward from P1. From P1 you have to draw a line vertically downward, so that it is going to cut this P0 line, right? P0 at, that is 0.5 atmospheric pressure line, it is going to cut it. So I am going to draw a vertically downward line, as you can see here, right? So it is going to cut this P0 line, that is 0.5 bar pressure line. So it is going to cut it here. So if you move from this point, if you move towards left, so you will get H2 dash, right? So this is H2 dash. So I will write it as 2 dash. This is 1.1. So this is 0.2 dash. I will write it as 2 dash. So from this point 2 dash, if you move towards the left side, so you will get H2 dash, right? So this drop we call it as isentropic drop. So isentropic drop, in isentropic drop we are considering zero losses, right? We are considering zero losses here. But in actual turbine, what happens, the line is something like this from point 1 to, so point 1 to, so it is something like this, as I will show you. So this is point 2, this is point 2. So actually this is the P1 to point 2. So 1 to 2 represent, this is the actual drop, but we are considering isentropic drop, that is P1 to 2 dash. P1 to 2 dash indicates isentropic drop, whereas P1 to 2 indicates actual drop, actual pressure drop, we can say, or actual enthalpy drop is P1 to 2. But we are considering isentropic drop, means there is no loss. So from here, if I move from point 2 to H2 dash, so towards the left side I am going to get the value of H2 dash. So now we will check that value, okay, on the Mollier diagram. So as you can see here, so I have indicated point, so this is point 10, so this is point 10. So from here I am going to move towards the left side, I am going to get the value of H1, that is 2780. Similarly, this is 0.5 bar line. So this is 0.5 bar line on the Mollier diagram, as you can see here. This is 0.5 line. So you have to proceed, you have to follow this line, right? You have to follow this line, and at same time you have to draw a vertical line here from 10 bar pressure. So I am going to draw the line here, 10 bar. So 10 bar, so I am going to draw, so 0.5, so it is going to cut here somewhere, right? So now you can see here, so this line what I have drawn, vertical line, as you can see here, this is the line which I have drawn. So this line indicates 0.5 pressure bar, as you can see here. So this is the line, so from here if you move towards the right side, so this is 0.5 pressure, right? And from 10 bar pressure, if you come downward, you are going to cut this line at here. So from this point you have to move to left side, right? So from here you have to move to the left side. So you will get H2 dash, right? You will get H2 dash, and the value of H2 dash you are getting is 2270. You are getting from here, as you can see here. So this is the point. From this point, so you have to draw a vertical line from 10 bar, and this 10 bar, this vertical line is going to cut 0.5 bar at this point. So this is the point which I have shown here. So this is the point. So from here you have to move towards the left side. So from here if I move, so I am going to get the value of h2 dash is equal to, that is 2270. so this is the value, h2 value, that is 2270, which we have obtained from the Mollier diagram. So now you can see here, so at 10 atmosphere pressure I got the value of h1 is equal to 2780. so this is the h1 value, right, from the Mollier chart. And from this point, right, this is 2 dash, so this value, from 2 dash value I am going to get the value of h2 dash. So I am going to get the value of 2270 kilojoules per kg Kelvin. So these two values we have obtained from Mollier chart. So now I am going to calculate delta H dash. That is the isentropic drop. Delta H dash is nothing but isentropic drop. So it is given by H1 minus H2. So H1 is 2780 minus 2270. So I will get the value of delta H dash. Delta H dash is equal to 510 kilojoules per kg. So this is isentropic drop. This we call it as isentropic drop, right? This is isentropic drop because we are not considering the losses there. So it is just a isentropic drop. Okay, so we have calculated the value of H dash, right? We have calculated the value of delta H dash. We have calculated this value. So it is 510 kilojoules per kg. So this value we have obtained from the Mollier chart. This is the Mollier chart. So this is how we have obtained the value of delta H. So now I am going to calculate the value of V1. So velocity of the steam, right? So it is given by square root of, so this is the equation, right? This is the equation for V1. So I am going to substitute the values. 2000 into nozzle efficiency is already given 0.94 multiplied by 510, that is delta H, right? Delta H. So I am going to get the value of V1 as 979.2 meters per second. So this is the value of V1. Okay, now we can draw the velocity triangle because we know the value of V1 and we also know the value of alpha 1, right? So now we are going to draw the velocity triangle. Graphically, right? Graphically. So initially what I am going to do, I am going to draw a horizontal line here, right? I am going to draw a horizontal line. So horizontal line, then I am going to locate point A here. So this is point A. So as you can see, the V1 value is 979.2. so I can choose scale 1 centimeter is equal to 100 meters per second. So I will choose the scale. So from point A, I am going to draw a line that is V1 at an angle of alpha 1 is 18 degree. So from here I am going to draw a line of 18 degree, right? 18 degree, somewhere here, 18 degree. Okay, and the length of this V1 should be how many centimeter? It is 9.8 almost, we can say, or 9.8 centimeter or 9.79 centimeter. So I have drawn a line of sufficient length. Now I am going to measure this. So if I divide it by scale, I am going to get in terms of centimeters. So you can see here 979.2 divided by 100. 100 is the scale. So how many centimeters it will be? 9.792 centimeters. So I am going to locate 9.792 on the velocity triangle. So for V1, so 9.79, 9.567, or I will go with 9.8. Okay, 9.8. So from there you have to draw a vertically line downward. Okay, so this is point A, B, C. This is point C. this is point C, this is point D, right? So we know the value of U is 450 meters per second, so divide by 100, so you'll get 4.5 centimeters. The value of U is 4.5 centimeters. So from A, locate point B at a distance of 4.5 centimeters. Okay, then join these two, B and D. Join B and D, right? B and D. So join B and D. So this is B. So this is V1. So length of V1 is 9.79 centimeters and magnitude is 979.2 meters per second, right? The value of U is 450 meters per second. So I'm going to locate that one also. So it is 450. So U is equal to 450 meters per second, right? So now I am going to measure the VR1 value. So VR1 is equal to, so measure the length of VR1 here. So VR1 is it is 5.6, okay, 5.6 or 5.7 it is, we can say it is 5.7. so 5.7 into 100, so it is 570. So I can say 570 meters per second. So this is magnitude, what I am representing it is the magnitude. Similarly VF1, so VF1 is equal to, so what is the vertical distance, that is CD. CD is exactly 3 centimeters. So 3 centimeter into 100, so this will be 300 meters per second, right? Then we need to calculate the angle beta 1. So just measure the angle beta 1. So since in this problem beta 1 is equal to beta 2, because it is equiangular, because beta 1 and beta 2 are equiangular, so I am going to measure the angle beta 1. So beta 1 I am getting somewhere around 32 degree, right? 32 degree. The same angle I am getting for beta 2 also. So beta 1 is equal to 32 degree. So here, so this is beta 1, this is equal to beta 1. So beta 2 should also be 32 degree, because it is clearly mentioned in the problem, beta 1 is equal to beta 2. So I am going to locate beta 2 now, right? Beta 2 on the velocity triangle. So again the angle will be 32 only, 32 degree. So 10, 20, 30, 32 degree, right? 32 degree. So I am going to draw a line, right, of a sufficient length, right? This is the line I have drawn. So now, so here CB value is given, coefficient of friction is given, that is 0.92. 0.92 is the coefficient of friction. So that is 0.92, or you can see this equation. So from this equation you can calculate the value of VR2. So VR1 is 5.7 centimeters or 570 meters per second it is, right? So I will go with the centimeter. So how many centimeters? 5.7 centimeter. 5.7 multiplied by 0.92. So I will get the value of VR2 is equal to 5.24 centimeters. 5.24 centimeters. So I am going to cut to that value, 5.24. Okay, somewhere here 5.24. So this is the value of VR2. So this is VR2 is equal to, so this is VR2 is equal to 524.4 meters per second. So this is the value of VR2. So this is the point, right? This is the point E here. This is point E. So from point E you have to draw a vertical line, right? Downward vertical line. So this is the vertical line downward. So this is VF2. right? Then join AE. then join AE. So this is VR2, V2, it is V2. So this is VF2 and this is V2. Okay, so now you can see this VU2 is overlapping on U. VU2 is over, this is VU2. So A, B, C, D, E, and this is point F, right? So here you can see A and F, this is point A and this is point F. Point A and point F are overlapping on U. So this is the U line, this is point A, this is point A, and this is point F, this is point F. So A and F, point A and point F are overlapping on U. This is U line. AB is nothing but U line. Here you can see there is a overlapping of point AF. Overlapping is taking place on U. AF is overlapping on A, that is AB, right? Okay. So now I am going to measure the value of VF2. So VF2 I am getting somewhere around 2.7, that is 2.5 centimeter. 2.7 into 100, it is 270 meters per second. 270 meters per second. Then V2 is, so I am going to get the value of V2 is equal to, so here the value of V2 is 2.8 centimeters, it is almost. So 2.8 centimeters multiplied by scale is 280 meters per second. Okay, and I need to calculate the value of that is VU1 and VU2. These two values are also required. So VU1, so AC is nothing but VU1. So AC, value of AC is VU1. So measure it and multiply with scale. AC is the value of VU1. AC how many centimeters? It is 9.5 centimeters, right? So it is 9.5 or 9.4 somewhere here. So I will go with 9.4 centimeters. So 9.4 centimeters into 100. 9.4 into 100. So I will get 9 VU1 is equal to 940 meters per second, right? So this is VU1. So from point F draw one more vertical line. So now I need to indicate VU2. So this line indicates VU2. This line indicates VU2. So here it is VU2 it is. So this is VU2, and the magnitude of this VU2 is, measure this AF and multiply with scale. So if I measure this, so it is almost I can say, so it is almost 3 centimeters, sorry 3 mm or 0.3 centimeters. So 0.3 into 100, so I will get 30. So this is 30 meters per second. This is VU2. So VU2 is how much? 30 meters per second. But the condition is that this VU2 is overlapping on U, that is AB, right? So here while calculating the things, the value of VU2 should be taken as negative because it is overlapping on U. Okay, so this is how we have drawn the velocity triangle here, as you can see. So this is the velocity triangle. So this angle is 32 degree, that is beta 2, 32 degree, because here beta 1 is equal to beta 2. Beta 1 is equal to beta 2. And how we have calculated the value of VR2 here? So VR2 is equal to, 0.92 times VR1. So these two relations you have to make use of to draw the exit velocity triangle, right? And this angle is alpha 2. This angle is alpha 2. That is also to be calculated. So measure the angle alpha 2. So that is nothing but the direction of exit stream. So this is nothing but alpha 2, direction of the exit stream. So I am going to measure the value here, V2. So I am going to get the value of, so alpha 2 is equal to, right? So alpha 2 is equal to, so better I will extend this line. I will extend this so that it can come under protractor, right? So now I am going to measure this line. So it is somewhere around 85 or 86, right? So here, so this angle, represent, this is also, this is alpha 2. So here alpha 2 is equal to, that is 86 degree. Okay, so this is how you have to draw the velocity triangle, and you need to specify all the parameters over here. Okay, and also draw the table representing all the values. Okay, now we will do the calculation part here. So what is to be calculated here first? So we need to calculate specific power output. Specific power output means by considering unit mass flow rate, right? So I can write specific power. So specific power is given by, power is equal to m into u into VU1 plus VU2 divided by 1000 kilowatt. So this is the general equation for power. If it is specific power, then m it is get cancelled, because we are going to calculate the power for mass flow rate of 1 kg. So that is nothing but specific power. So the equation will be u into VU1 plus VU2 divided by 1000. So we know the value of u here, that is 450 into bracket VU1 is, so we have obtained the value of VU1, that is 940. So 940. So since VU1, you can see here, VU2 is overlapping on u, right? VU2 is overlapping, so that's why we need to take VU2 as negative, right? We need to take this VU2 as negative. So I am going to substitute the value of VU2 as negative here, minus 30, right? We have obtained the value of VU2 as 30 here, right? 30 meters per second, so 30. So I will get specific power is equal to 450, so divide by 1000 here, divide by 1000 kilowatt. So it will be 450 into bracket 940 minus 30 bracket close, divide by 1000. So I will get 409.5 kilowatt, right? Okay, now rotor efficiency, we need to calculate rotor efficiency. So rotor efficiency is given by, so that is nothing but the stage efficiency. Rotor efficiency, stage efficiency, these all are same. So rotor efficiency, so, or stage efficiency, so this is given by work done divided by energy supplied, that is half mv1 square, right? So work done is given by m into u into bracket VU1 plus VU2 divided by, I will take this 2 above and it will become mv1 square. So this m get cancelled. So efficiency equation will be 2 into u into VU1 plus VU2 divided by V1 square. Okay, so just substitute the values. 2 into u value is 450 into VU1 is 940 minus 30 divided by V1. So we have calculated the value of V1. So it is 979.2 square it is. So I am going to get the rotor efficiency as 2 into 450 into bracket 940 minus 30 bracket close divided by 979.2 square. So I will get 85.4. 85.4 percentage. This is the rotor efficiency or stage efficiency, right, or diagram efficiency. All three are same. Okay, now we need to calculate stage efficiency. Stage efficiency, it is given by stage efficiency is equal to blade efficiency multiplied by nozzle efficiency. So this is equal to blade efficiency, just now we have calculated, that is 85.4 into nozzle efficiency is 0.94. so stage efficiency will be 85.4 into 0.94. so this is equal to 80.27 percentage, right? Okay, now we need to calculate axial thrust, that is FA. Axial thrust is equal to, FA is equal to, that is VF1 minus VF2 into M it is, right? So just substitute the values here. So VF1, how much value obtained? VF1 is 300 meters per second, and VF2 is 270 into 1 it is. So we are considering mass flow rate as 1. So we are getting, so 300 minus 270, we are getting 30 newtons. Then direction of exit steam, that is alpha 2 is equal to 86 degree, which we have obtained from velocity triangle. So this is the method that you have to follow this problem. Thank you all of you.